So, a few months ago, we were asked to go to a customer and help move their 6x4 wargaming table upstairs into the gaming room of the new house. As you can see, we had a good attempt at that. We cut a few holes in the table here and there, just trying to get around corner posts and such, but unfortunately, with all our efforts, we could not get that table up those stairs. So what they opted to do was ask us to cut the table down to the current standard sizes for Warhammer, which was 60 inches by 44 inches on the play area, which means removing about a foot on the length and 4 inches off the width of the table, which did then help us get the table back up into place. So it was a smart move. Rather than building a new table, we agreed that this was probably the best option. So we took the table back to the workshop, and the first thing we needed to do was dismantle everything, whipping off the armrests, quite easy, just screwed on into place. So took those out, took that off. Same with the inner wall, again just unscrewed from the bottom of the table. The first hurdle was the outer walls, because these are screwed and glued into place in the corners and onto the plywood, so a bit more effort was required for breaking that apart. Next was the inside wall, the inner wall, and just removing the lights from there, which are basically stuck into the aluminium tracks and the fuser strips, and again glued and screwed on the corners, so just needed to knock those apart. It's not too much of a worry, because everything was going to be sanded right back, so any marks or anything like that made were removed, and we fixed everything back together. And here we have the whole table broken down, really, apart from the leaves and the legs. Not really that much to it, is there? So first job for Ben was to cut the ply down to size. So again, removing 6 inches approximately from each end, and then a couple of inches from either side. Gets rid of that rough bit on the edges where the glue was that we've had to break apart, so left with a nice clean slate. For the final build, we put the original cutout from the middle of the table back in place and then boarded it up from the bottom, so you didn't know that was there when done, because it was covered over with leatherette. Next, Ben's trimming down the leaves for the table. So we're cutting in the new hook and lock style leaves for this table. It was just the put together leaves, but we opted to replace those with the new locking system, which is something we were able to do because we were shrinking the table down. Here, Ben's just using a hand router to apply the groove into the hook and lock joint. Routering on the edges of wood like this can be quite tricky, so he's just dropped it into one of the vices on the workbenches in the workshop. Something that doesn't get used all that often, but has definitely come in handy for these. With the width of the leaves and the grooves completed, it's just a case of trimming the leaves down to size on the length now, so that they'll just drop into the table nicely. And with all those cut into size, it's just a case of trimming down the end pieces. So we've got the first leaf, which is a square edge, and then at the other end we have the chamfer leaf, which goes in last, or removes first. We're just playing off a little slope on the underside of the leaf for that. And with all that completed, it's then over to me to start working on the sanding and the finish of everything. So firstly, I'm going to hit the sides and top edges with the Merkur round sander. Nice and easy, it's just getting in there with some nice rough sandpaper to take that surface off and remove as much of the original oil as we can. And then with the same grit, just give the grooves a quick finger sand just to get everything nice and rough, ready for oil application. And the same process applies to the table, and also we've done the legs as well, so everything's all ready together to be oiled at the same time. she is, all ready for a fresh coat. As the original table was finished with Danish oil back in our earlier days, we decided to apply the same finish again, or similar, just a different brand, because the table did feel really nice. It's more of a gaming table than a dining table, so we're happy to basically give it the same finish that it came back with. It's a similar process though for application. Just basically put plenty onto the wood itself, make sure it's got a good covering, and then buff it all off to a nice smooth polished finish, and then it goes onto the rack to dry overnight. Even after just one coat, it's really got a nice sheen to the finish already, so after another 2 or 3 coats it looks even better. And I've managed to forget to record the footage of the table being done, so here's evidence that that was indeed done. So with everything finished and fully cured, it's time to get this table back together and on its way home. So Ben starts by screwing up the inner walls and the armrest, and you can see the ply on the bottom there that's supporting the original piece that was cut out and filled, which is then covered over with the leatherette flooring that was on the original table as well. Here we are, just getting the light diffusers back in place, testing the lights, getting those switched on. Purple was always a popular colour with Katie and Maxine, so just to see how that looked. Looks great, we love these lights. They did ask us when we collected the table about holders for drinks, and we know one was a hot drink drinker, so we thought the mug holders would do the jobs best. So here we are, just branding up some of the cork coasters we do. Can't beat a little bit of branding. We don't do too much, but they do the job. And then it's time to chuck everything back on the van and get onto that long drive back down south and see if she fits back upstairs. Thankfully, Katie and Maxine were on the ball and managed to do a bit of filming during delivery, getting footage of the Chuckle Brothers getting the table up and around the stairs there. And one of the more difficult parts of this delivery was getting the table back up onto its feet, as the legs were requested to be longer on the original order, as they like to stand at the table rather than sit at it to play. And a big shout out to Maxine for stepping in to give us a hand with that. And here's a few shots of the table finally in place. This video I've stolen off of Katie's and Maxine's Instagrams, just showing off the table later on that day, these cool little dice trays that we did for them, and the mug holders, and of course a mug, a couple of mugs that we left them with even more branding, because why not. Maxine posing with the table, so it looks great. We love keeping an eye on their Instagram, and we appreciate all the shout outs they give us. And then Katie's massive collection of Tyranids, which I'm very jealous of, and why wouldn't you put them all in a table for a photo? Thanks for watching, and if you need more information on tables, then do head over to our website natural20tables.co.uk, or for some cool content on Warhammer, we would highly recommend taking a look at Katie and Maxine's Instagram pages.